it on. Turn it on.
All right, we're about to get started in about 2 minutes. Thank you for joining us today. The Long Beach chapter of CLI is in the house, taking over Los Angeles real quick, stepping through. So give us about 2 minutes, and then we're going to jump into the show.
All right. They lift me. I never thought it could happen. This rapping stuff. I was too used to packing gats and stuff. Now honey's plenty close, like butter plate coat. From the Mississippi down to the East Coast, cargoes the Queen, in dope and heat. Sold out seats to hear Biggie smoke beat. Living like without fear. My baby's out there. Mention, interviews on the board. Consider the fool, cause I dropped out of high school. Sharing the facts of the black man misunderstood. And it's still all good. And if you don't know, now you know, nigga.
I'm kind of like
In Uptown, LBC, graffiti turns to murals of shy and philosophy. We never speak, but we get it done. In the city of the beach and the rising sun.
Welcome to Long Beach, city of poets and local heroes. Cultures intermingling like Cambodian Mexican joints where the best donuts are Vietnamese and Latino art share spaces with Buddhist temples.
Come on.
Each city has its soul. The soul of the city is mixed with the soul of surviving poets. Where a cat is curled up in the corner of an old-fashioned bookstore, dreaming of her soulmate, listening to poets singing, crying, and bleeding.
Come on.
A tunnel of humanity, a bunch of lonely rooms with lights half dimmed and thoughts blasted open. Another backdrop setting for the illustrious and the jungle for the creatures of the night.
A city that cracked open my perception, taught me self-acceptance, gathered my understanding of just how strong I can be. I grew up in the city of the beach, grew up under these city lights, always remembering those that came before me.
Not LA, not Orange County, but something in between. The people are really chill here because they all listen to Sublime and smoke that green.
Nice says, loving life, I'm feeling free, giving thanks and praises be. All is well and beautiful to me because it's summertime in the LBC.
Hey.
Nice.
You can leave, but traces linger in blood and genes like a star's dust. Genetic gravity calls you back.
Yes.
A presence, aura, persona that entrances all to a being. Compelling array of visits across many a day.
Yes.
Flip-flop, sandals, and sunshine. Refuel spirits, winds of whispers.
Mm.
Oh, what a magical place. You can chill or you can race.
Home is where you live, while you learn, why you love, where you fight for truth and the life you dreamed of. Home is belonging even when you're apart, where your heart can bleed through your craft, through your art. And mine is here on this very long beach.
In our city, we don't sleep, wielding pens like swords we reap. We sew you into stitches with our lyrical switches, not here to just teach, we preach. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Y'all ready? Yeah. Welcome to Long Beach.
Yeah. Welcome to Long Beach. We in the building. We are happy. We're excited to be with you guys tonight. Me and Lolo's going to trade off tonight the responsibilities of bringing up these amazing artists who I've learned so much from this year. I mean, wow, it's been amazing. Saturdays, woo, man, they've been hit me across the face every Saturday with powerful poems, and you're going to get a chance to see what I get to experience every Saturday. So I'll start off with a poem.
Yes.
Please do that.
All right. It's called Teacher. These bar stools are getting misty, like the borders of my hairline. 2 stiff ones in, and I can't see a reflection of me anywhere. Plasma screens glaring at me. Sirens in the backdrop, sketching a few dreams on a wet napkin. Foot tap into an imaginary stand-up bass. I'm skittish about my next feature. Confucius said it right. The old to keep old knowledge warm, and to get the new makes the teacher. Poetry has chose me, but I feel like a bootleg preacher, casting out demons with sage in one hand and Tanqueray in the other. I would choose another path if I can silence these voices. The ancestors remind me that we were invoices on someone else's ledger. And I measure the peaks and the valleys traveled for me to stand here. In my quietude, I fight the bitter moods. On May 14th, newsflash, Tops Friendly Market in Buffalo. Could have easily been me. What was that supposed to teach me? Besides new names like Roberta Drury, Margus Morrison, Andre McNeil, Aaron Salter, Geraldine Talley, Celestine Chaney, Haywood Patterson, Catherine Macy, Pearl Young, and Ruth Whitfield. 10 innocent souls. What I've learned in America is church is not a place for questions. School is not a place for learning. Hospitals are not a place for healing. Courts are not a place to find justice. All is subjective. They expect us to move like mice in a maze. Do not ask how the cheese got here. Just be grateful that you have it. And I had to start it off in that energy because, you know, we lost people. We lost people the other week. And it was just people just going to the store. Some of you went to the store today, you know? You never thought that somebody would just come in and just start shooting. And just shooting people with black faces. You know, that shooter got up there. He see one person, he said, "Oh, I'm sorry," and went on to the next person. That's how deep that was. So anyway, welcome, Lolo. This is Lolo Wink. This is my right hand.
Hey everybody. Thank you, Tommy. Poets, when you get up here, make sure you guys bite on this mic over here. That's what it's for. Yeah. Everybody wants to hear you, including the people out there watching on YouTube. So thank you everyone for joining us this evening. I got a little piece. So this is not our culmination, but you know, this just kind of makes me, Tommy's piece as well, makes me consider how valuable our time is and how special the people who we interact with on a daily basis are. It's a blessing, and I'm so grateful to have you all here tonight and to just have journeyed with you. So this is a piece I wrote last year, but I'm going to share it with you. It's called Tommy. It's a haiku for y'all. Blues man sings our song. Words become notes on a staff, tugging at soul strings. Thank you, Tommy. I guess we could start to bring these poets up. Oh, yeah. We have so much fire to bring you guys this evening, and I just want to ask you guys that if you are moved by something, like make sure interject. You know, say what's up. You know, let those poets know that they're appreciated. They need that, and you know, we want to keep this good energy going. Y'all feeling good tonight? Yeah. All right.
So we chose to do this a little different.
We're doing something a little different tonight.
Like the order.
The spirit has moved.
The spirit's moved. Somebody.
Just talk right out here. Mike's here.
All right. Okay. I'm disjointed. This poet is disjointed in their shoulders. Pronouns are they and them. The amazing poet that tugs on our heartstrings with the depthness of her poetry is Mac.
Hey y'all.
Hey.
Hey, can I take this off?
Yes. Do what you want. This is your stage.
Perfect. All right. Hey y'all. My name's Mac. My pronouns are they, them. I'm gonna share 2 poems with you real quick, okay? So this first poem is titled Dreams, and it goes like this. You came to me in a dream a few nights ago. It took me this long to remember it because if I'm honest, I don't really like to think of you. You remind me of a different type of pain, and that pain doesn't belong to me anymore. It belongs to who we were years ago, and I need you to know that those people are gone now. This radio reminded me of you this morning, and I know we can't talk right now or well ever, but that moment made me smile. And I hope this makes you smile, wherever you are now. You sent me this message a week and a half ago on a Tuesday. I didn't see it until that Thursday, and for a moment I let myself think back to the nights you told me I remind you of the stars, and my laugh sounds like dragonfly wings in a field of dandelions. I let my heart think back to what it felt like to be loved by you the last time. And then I let it go. I let you go. And it felt like the 16-year-old inside of me crawled her way up my throat and wrapped her arms around me as if to say, finally, my love. I was waiting for you to finally hear me. You came to me in a dream a few nights ago. You look like the person I fell in love with all those years before now. For a moment, my heart didn't recognize you. And neither did I. Thank you. Thank you so much. And this last poem is titled Pleading with God. Trigger warning, it is a little bit heavy. I told my mom my body didn't feel like mine on the same day I realized I didn't want to live in it anymore. She looked me up and down, sucked her teeth, and said, that's between you and God. That was always her favorite line. Quick to give God the burden of deciding my fate so she didn't have to hold the guilt of her own creation staring her in the face. I grew up in the Baptist church, a family full of deacons and ushers, always reminding me that I wasn't what they wanted. I left home for the first time at 17. Some part of me knowing if I stayed, I wouldn't have made it to 18. Back in 2016, I quit my job because I wanted to die. I told my mom, and the first thing she did was ask what I was going to do about the phone bill, far more focused on the ringing in her hand than the beating in my chest. I tried to go visit her God at the age of 20. Let this body lay to rest with a stomach full of her prescribed pebbles, a part of me hoping she'd find the body. Start pleading with God to be a part of our conversation this time. Thank you. Everybody give it up for Mac one more time. Telling you, we're not joking around. We don't mess around in Long Beach over here. We ain't messing around. So you guys want to hear a piece from me, or should we pull up another poet? What do you think? Okay, all right, here we go. This is called Swan Song to a Sweet Talker. In the coal black faint of night, laying beside my lover, sudden lament for the loss, tears shed now that it's over. Death of plans that could have been but were truly not meant, though fond memories may be, mate was never your intent. Your impulse merely to keep butterfly captive in jar, you feign protector, but this image but an avatar. Subscribing to false ideas that you would intentionally feed, lavish in all ways but word, failing to acknowledge my needs. Hunger for companionship, a partner in life above all. I starve for this connection. Your apathy, my wake-up call. Monumental decisions do not come without their battles. This judgment was no different, but I chose to drop the gavel. I ached for your presence, weary goodbye my heart recalls. Sick in mind and marrow like an arduous withdrawal. Regaining power, thought lost, creating a renewed self, holding my head up higher, finding self-worth, gaining wealth. Examining all my choices, acknowledging all the facts. Parting was such sweet sorrow, but you were merely a setback. Thank you. All right, time to bring up another poet here. Domino has made the selection. This poet plays with puppets. Everyone, please welcome Christian Lozada. I gotta adjust the mic.
Love this. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna defy the rules and I'm gonna read 3 of them. I don't care what y'all say.
Do it!
They're short anyways. Anyways, until the next one. Millennials have the weakest grip in all of human history, but it's not them. That grasp has weakened every year since we dropped the bomb like sand clutching the shoreline in Waikiki before washing into ocean depths. You can see the sinew pulling fingers taut, trying to hold the metrics that once counted like taking hands or lording land, holding tight, but that for the absence of strength to resist the constant pull of changing weather patterns and the snatch and clutch of generations past. Millennials have the weakest grip as evolutionary adaptation for our species, who has crested in its ability to squeeze and wring out the value of the sacred. All right, this is called When the Invasive Becomes Domestic. So starved of home on my tongue, I'm reading a poem about the death of Filipina domestic workers who will be buried in foreign soil. And I perk up at the words Cebu and Cebuano and read other Filipino phrases out loud, hoping my mouth finds them familiar one day. I knew the anxiety of metal to metal tapping on room number plates with housekeeping keys before entering the unknown. First, I knew to use a towel to prop the door open for plausible deniability if something goes missing or so passersby can hear me call. Second, I knew no matter the situation, say sorry if the occupant is in the room. Third, I knew to go about my business, pretend the occupant isn't there, but listen for their words, listen for their movements. Fourth, coil exhausted muscles just in case, but I never reminded myself I am a man, and I never thought about those brown aunties and what it meant for them to go tap, tap, tapping on occupied doors and the messes they were expected to clean. I never knew to listen for an auntie's call and wouldn't know the Cebuano word for help if I heard it. All right, after I damaged you a couple times, well, and light and damaging, you know what you did. It's a violent microaggression when your white coworkers leave the choice between a coconut donut or a half-eaten glazed cruller. Selecting between sinking your teeth through a thin layer of whiteness and nothing is a form of guilt-laden consent. It's purely manufactured. Be honest and leave me a plain cake donut. That tough, unflavored crust is the familiar, and I will choke it down with tap water so as not to give you the satisfaction.
Hand me the selection. Oh, okay. It's a whole paragraph right here. I can juggle pretty well, especially with rolls of socks while doing the laundry.
What? Whoa! Multifaceted. Just saying.
Paige Pelonis.
That's great. I didn't know that.
I had a plan. I was going to read something new. Panicked. So now I'm not going to.
You might still need to.
Grown-ass woman.
Oh, yeah.
Woo! I am a big girl. When they laughed me out of our childhood clubhouse because no girls allowed, I felt my girl rain down the sides of my face while they watched my open-toothed smile fall out of place and erased every trace of me from our secret play space. I tried and tried to secret handshake my way back inside till Mom and Dad pulled me aside and said, Paige, be a big girl. So I pressed my lips together, bit down on my tongue until I tasted metal and squeezed my eyes shut tight enough to fight back tears like those little boys' fears of my cooties couldn't crush me because I'm a big girl. So big, so soon. I had to squeeze into my sister's hand-me-down shoes with my too long, too wide feet, and with their once new, now mine t-shirts stretched across my double D chest, those still so little boys now liked me best. And the rest of me grew too, but nobody really knew what to do with a child becoming woman by way of exploding out of her own skin. So I spent big years buying into big girl bullshit, like, big girl won't ever be beautiful, like, big girl, you talk too much, like, big girl, don't want to eat like that, like, big girl, he won't ever love you, like, big girl, be more like your sisters, like, big girl, you're too young, like, big girl, you're too old, like, big girl with the big mouth, nobody will believe you, like, big girl with the big boobs, we know you wanted it, like, big girl with the big dreams, why don't you shut up and settle, like, big girl, can you just be smaller? But the weight of that big girl, be somebody else baggage couldn't break me down into bits and pieces because I am a big girl, and the world is full of us. We are just woke up and beautiful through lashes curled and lipstick bold and every shape, shade, and size in between. We are big girl cup of coffee to greet the rising sun through bedtime stories when the day is done. We are sitting tall behind big girl desks, leading companies and sharing stories and launching revolutions. And we're not just changing the world, we're making it spin.
That's right. That's right.
And marching my me-sized feet to this big girl beat means following in the footsteps of any big-mouthed, full-bodied, dream-chasing, grown-ass woman who stopped shrinking, no matter who asked them to. So I will never apologize for the size of my body, my voice, or even my scars, because I am a big girl. And the way my big dances rose red and purple across my middle and along my thighs and under my arms and along the sides of my breasts could fill me with shame, like boys laughing, no girls allowed, filled me with tears. But instead, I'm filled with love that tastes like blueberry pancakes and bacon in bed on a weekend. And instead, I'm filled with hope that looks like a faint pink line whispering, maybe this belly can get even bigger. And instead, I'm filled with strength, from my big girl, nails polished and white-knuckled fist to my bare-skinned, bulging biceps that may be buried beneath my big, but still exist.
Yes.
And I can carry my own big, loud load of grown-ass self on my broad, bold shoulders without flattening because I am a big girl.
Yeah.
And this is called Preface. Impact is everything. Let me just say this. The science of car versus pedestrian is brutal. Their ripped open and blood-soaked skin stuck to the underbelly of 3,000 pounds of perfectly polished steel, and I made it through without a scratch. I never learned how to drive. I didn't see them. I was a child at the wheel. I never knew how it looked on their side of the road. I crashed right through them, and the sound of bone breaking was swallowed up in my silence. I didn't mean to, but I flattened them. I didn't mean to, but I rolled right over them. I didn't mean to, but I let them disappear too. I scraped their broken bodies off the bottom and buried them. I wiped their faces from the rearview mirror and drove on. I knew I hit the gas, not the brakes, that doing whatever it takes to cover a mistake doesn't just make me guilty, it's criminal. But I closed my eyes and held my tongue in my fist and went on letting them cease to exist, and I'm so pissed about every chance that I missed to grow. And that I slept just fine for years. In my dreams, I saw them. In my dreams, I saw them breathing, saw them being, saw them breaking. I saw their dust-covered and cracking open, leather-bound bare feet carry them from war to hunger to begging. I saw their cheeks sinking in and their purple marbled skin and the holes where they've been breathing and being and breaking for generations while I slept. And in my dreams, I heard their voices, brittle and beaten down to a whisper. I saw everything splintering and cracking open, and I saw them slipping through. And then I finally woke up, screaming for JoJo, who lived along the riverbed, gave me her story and asked me for bread, for Cupcake, who lived in the tent beside her, who watched the uniform sweep her away, and when I finally came back, had nothing to say. Screaming for the man who fought for my freedom and came home to a cage, who opened my heart and filled it with rage, for the boy whose words at 14 were bigger than mine would ever be. Screaming for the son who took a bullet at 15 years old on Mother's Day, and I dropped to my knees too late to pray that nobody's child should die that way. For the older brother whose 16-year-old feet could always dance his pain away, who never had too many words to say, but when his mother couldn't give him a safe place to stay, he said over and over it would be okay. Screaming for the woman who braved the operating table so they could cut off her breasts because the war didn't kill her, but cancer could. For the delicate and graying lady whose language I couldn't speak and she needed someone to listen. Screaming for the walking along and fading away man who was always grime covered and overlooked because war and trauma and booze aside, leaving the streets no matter how hard he tried was the scariest thing he did before he died. And screaming always for Joy, whom I never even brought into the world. And because my ignorance, my arrogance, my privilege silenced me, blinded me until I drove right through them, I will not get behind the wheel again. I will walk. Until every scarred and battle-bruised veteran is whole again, I will walk. Until every child has something to eat, I will walk. Until no one needs anyone else's permission to breathe, I will walk. Until every home is safe, I will walk. Until the system breaks and rebuilds, breaks and rebuilds, breaks and rebuilds, until breaking and rebuilding, unlearning and learning, ripping open and sewing back together is the system.
Yes.
Preface, the silent science of the system crushing humanity may be brutal, but I will not look away. I will not let the world forget their faces, silence their voices, or wipe away their names. I will give up my seat behind the wheel and make room, and that will be my impact.
Whoa! One more time for Paige, everybody. Thank you so much. Woo! Right? I'm telling you, we're not holding any punches. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming. So this next poet is a multifaceted creator from Compton, California. Shouts out.
Hey.
Everyone welcome up Kierunya.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna do that too. I do like your DJ style, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so I always do this piece, but it's called Magic Touch. But y'all gotta help me. So it goes. Snap. See. You got the magic touch. You got the magic, the magic touch. That black girl magic, the magic touch, the magic touch, the magic touch. Yeah, I'm itty bitty, but I'll snap your ass to you. Take everything you think you know and turn it into you. Yeah, I'm bright and beautiful like the inside out. I flip my inhibitions and I clear the ball, my God. Now all I see is rain that took away that pain, that escalate that flame. I'm just trying to see that change, that take away them chains. Yeah, I'm talking freedom, ain't never been the same. See, recognize my game, yeah, that black girl magic like a moth to a flame. Yeah, you just got to have it. No, it took a long time, yes, it's been a journey. Embracing every slip up, yeah, every fucking hiccup. I got my fucking weight up, now they ain't got to wake up. Like a seed in the dirt, I'm about to blow up, that glow up. That anything is possible if you got the vision. Put your mind to it, and know that you can do it, and know that you can do it. See, you got the magic touch, you got the magic touch, that black girl magic, the magic touch, the magic touch. Alright, so this is called Human Experience. I did a poll on my Instagram. I just chose what I wanted to do. Yeah. But shout out to y'all who voted. Okay, so it goes. I'll be damned if this human experience hasn't brought me to my knees. And in the same breath taught me how strong I can be. This human experience took my work perception, expanded and gave birth to the purpose of my reality. Created evolution, resurrection, all while teaching me I don't owe any of you any explanations. But what I bring to the table doesn't have to be defined by your definitions. My mission is to listen to my intuition, create a new way for the new generation to release their inhibitions, to see what they've never seen before, so that they may create their own visions. Why is it that you want to erase my existence? What is it about my lifestyle that creates so much friction and resentment? How do you believe in evolution and fix your mouth to say things like, we the American people are being force-fed a quote-unquote gay agenda, and the youth of tomorrow are being misled? Forced. If you want to talk about force and choice being ripped from your hands, try being black, darker complected woman and queer. And don't forget to remind yourself of all the history that is there. How in 1993 and 1994, the queer people were being forced to adhere to the bitter laws of don't ask, don't tell. Take you back to the 1940s and 50s when queer people were being arrested for holding men lovers' hands. And if you were black and queer during the time of civil rights movement, need I remind you, you were not only told to sit at the back of a bus but ostracized from your own community, forced to the background, denied equal opportunity. Spare me the bullshit about how uncomfortable you are. How entitled you to think your human experience matters more than mine. Imagine if you couldn't marry the love of your life and you were forced to hide. Push your mind back to the times when women were denied equal rights, when black people were treated like chattel and not like they had human lives. This is the time of revolution, where black queer representation matters and creates solutions, where my black and queer meet to create pure magical beauty inspires me to lay the foundation of inclusion, to overlay that foundation with the house that eradicates exclusion. You've created showing an illusion that my lifestyle is wrong and intrusive. But like every individual that walked before me, this is adding to my story, creating her story. Buried deep within me are the answers to setting free those who are subject to oppression in an already oppressed community. I'll be damned if this human experience hasn't brought me to my knees and taught me in the same breath how strong I could be. This human experience took my warped perception, expanded it, and gave birth to the purpose of my reality. Created evolution and showed me how my adversity creates diversity and how its trickle-down effects creates room for queer to exist happily, not only in our community, but for every person to coexist in unity. This is my human experience, and it will never or no longer be overlooked or erased because of your discomfort.
There's nothing down here.
They need no introduction.
Oh, need no introduction. Well, let me say a little something. This guy is a master storyteller, but he speaks his stories in poetry. I'm bringing to the mic Jose Flores.
All right, cool. All right, these are some poems about life and death and such. This is called Waiting on a Sunset. Drunken symbolism, the mind vomits melancholy. Sati plays on a loop. Odd man, reborn into the inferno of this life, the deep abyss taunting the oddly shaped figures, the hollow shadows hanging on to dear life. We're all just waiting. Insanity dances by the wooden record player. Sometimes I get flashes of another life. Sometimes I drown in the sewers of what I've become. Manic phantoms drinking whiskey. I join them, they join me. We're all just waiting. Dead flowers on the bedstand of my lover. Gone for good are the salivating summers. Gone are the swims towards the sleeping stars. Gone are the brutal street fights. Gone are the prescription drugs, the spontaneous fucks, the wine-ridden fantasies of what we could be. We're all just waiting. Feel nothing. Days like graveyards. Sitting by the ocean. The wind sometimes feels alright. Walking down and up and up and down. It becomes quite a drag after a while. But what is there to do? Always the same thought circle. First a question and then an acceptance. Maybe one day there will be more. We're all just waiting. Mountains toppled by the fingerprints of humanity. Men and women subdued by the quiet pleasures. New shoes, new clothes, new car, new technology. Gotta have it all. The bedroom floor retiled. The ceiling fan replaced. The house repainted. A new television to match the new rug and a new couch to match the new television. We're all just waiting. The church bell vibrates the pocket of the poor. I'd rather sell my soul in the eyes of the devil and live a life of sex and madness. I'd rather live the broken roof life of the wanderless poet who lives off the grid. I'd rather do anything than be like you lost parrots repeating everything you hear. The acoustic guitar summons demons and more. The old and barely standing piano can play the darkness of the earth, the depression-era suicides, the alcoholism that has taken over normal life. The nostalgic sounds of soul, the monotone vocal cords, the choir being sacrificed. You can hear the restless noise just getting louder. We're all just waiting. Dimensions poured into cups. Drinking all I can, I escape death. Death escaped me. Spiraling now. The menacing howls of being eaten alive by the oceans of the moon. Sanity spilled onto the floor. It falls through the cracks, floats down the abyss. Where am I now? Waiting on the world to move? Waiting on the glory of 100? Waiting on the 5 o'clock bus? Waiting for 18, 21, 30? Waiting for love and then waiting for the end of love. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Always waiting and never at the point of accomplishment. We are all doomed. Trapped rats with a consciousness overload. Fat whales roaming aimlessly in the ocean. We're all just waiting. Thank you. That's life, the wait. And then this is called When I Look at Death. a little bit depressing there. All right. When I look at death, I don't bow. I almost feel powerful. Anger in C minor. Joy for the starving. When I look at death, I only see glory, glory, glory. Holy triumph over eternity. I drink once more. I smoke once more. The hazy clouds dissolve. The faded layer of existence reveals reflections of blank voids. The resurrection of the dead, pure anarchy for the sleepless, gritty melancholy for the angels. When I look at death, I also look through death. The wine drips from my hand. My blood filters the stars. When I look at death, I don't bow. I continue smoking, drinking, fucking. I continue through the desert, through shadows and moonlight, through lost generations, through abandoned empires, through massacres for peace, through last words and final amends. I run around in circles and then do it all over again. What's left? The whiskey settles, the streets puke, the cars dance on severed bits of time, and I stop, for once, stop. Nothing at the top or the bottom. The walls are at me. The clouds swallow my soul. I walk by the water and lose myself. This night has gone on for days. These walls have laughed a bit too much and said far too little. But I hear it now, yes. I hear my symphony, the choir, the ballerinas, the audience, blank in expression, colors of youth. I see the light dancing on the flesh. I see your smile carved in stone. I see myself infinitely. I hear my symphony, the drum slowly picking up speed, and then a slow stop, a trumpet howls, and then eternity.
Everybody give that for Jose one more time. Nicely done. Woo. All right, this next poet. If I can, yes. Okay, got it. This next poet is a professor turned poet. Everyone, please welcome Anne.
And at the same time, telling them, man, if you don't mind with this shit, man, ain't no pussy good in
It's lucky, yo.
Get it, it's still. Get after everybody.
My first poem is called Cataract Vision. I must slip the filters back over my eyes. I see too much without them. Which ones provide shade over the illuminating field of vision, images that clamor for the stage? Screaming faces, the immensity of it all, quiet moments of anguish, a dark corner of a bar. Like the Bible says, do not pay attention to all words that are spoken. That is my motto. I'll slip some white noise inside my mind, dilute clarity, forget past history. I'll act dumb, be nice to men, forget subtle slurs against my mind. I'll ignore envy and mistrust of women by women. Some words and images do not register by design. Others register, and I can't really catch them. They rise, escape, hide in a fog conveniently manufactured to blur sharp edges. I rely on filters to shield me. Certain frequencies need suppression. Certain tones must be subdued. As an eye covered by cataract sees less and less, I see vague approximations of reality. As I slip the filters back over my eyes again, I am in a different world, and my stage is quiet.
Wow.
The second one is a little left turn here. This one's called Mopping Up. Wine shines like blood as it spills on bed sheets. I mop it up quickly, shocked at the ease with which it goes. In this country, media tell us no war surrounds us here. Strife has not made us vigilant, but here we see murders and invasions appear, recede, and fade. Like so many wine smudges, they are quickly mopped up. It's all gone in a moment, except for snapshots and conspiracy plots created later, eruptions on the flat landscape. Lone gunmen, the Lone Ranger, no longer ride horses. They ride on the backlash of public opinion. We cover up our crimes quite well. We pose as democratic models for the world. We mop up blood quickly, not shocked anymore at the ease with which it goes.
Yeah.
You have no clue of what me and my homie Snoop Dogg came to do. It's like this, and like that, and like this, and it's like that, like this, and like that, and it's like this. The new give a fuck about gold.
Give it up one more time for Ann. And Caro with those breaks in the music.
Keep songs, please. Okay.
Well, I see director. I see director. Okay, this guy is a director, multifaceted in all genres of entertainment. This man can do comedy. This man can do acting. This man can do poetry.
Yes.
He is the man. He is my man, Fernando.
Yes, Fernando. Go, Fernando.
Hey guys, what's up? Oh, this is awesome. Such a big house. All right. Yeah, happy to be here. I'll just read some poems. I'll do a poem. Here's what I do. I wrote a poem for every day of the year. So I'll read a poem right now that I'm proud of, and then someone give me a number between 1 and 140, and I'll read that one. So it could be a short one, it could be a bad one or a good one. They're not all bangers, but I try. All right, this is poem 62. Dear brown friend about to enter a privileged space for the first time. These are the red flags of privilege. Heed them to save yourself. The grief of being a token if you're not already one. The burden of being fetishized/exoticized if you can really limit the attention. Or block the self-doubt of belonging. This one's for scholarship kids whose ability got them in the door, but continued performance keeps them in the space. These warnings are here to help you navigate the space and get out of it what you need, because have no doubt the space is taking all it can from you. Number one, privileged people don't know they're privileged. This is their world, and you're here to do a job for them or just amuse them until they get bored. Number two, you as an idea that reflects their openness and tolerance for people who are different than them is more important than you as an actual person, and never get this twisted. Three, no matter your oppression, marginalization, or economic struggle, your privileged friends have a personal crisis that dwarfs all that. So the conversation should always be centered on them. Number four, privilege does not like to be called out. In theory, yes, because accountability is an ideal everyone should aspire to, except when it's them who are being brought to account. Number five, the thing that got you into the space must be delivered on schedule. That's the deal, bud. You're not here to have opinions. Shut up and dribble, make the tacos, wash the car, write the thing. Be grateful you have a job, We can always get someone else because we're inclusive. Privilege wants your genius, but fails to recognize your genius is indivisible from the rest of yourself. Even if I could just give you my genius needs all of me to be released. Good luck, brown friends. Learn the power of silence and sarcasm to suss out fake friends. I will always have your back, Fernando. All right, wild card. Someone throw me a number between 1 and 140.
44.
44. All right, 44.
44 first.
44.
Okay, I'll do 99 because I love you.
99 is right, yeah?
Yeah. I'll do 99 because Faiza's in my class and all right, I'm sorry. All right. I just did a heel turn right there. I'm sorry. Okay. Sometimes you gotta turn heel, guys. But am I in the butt? Okay. This is a short one too, so maybe I'll do that one as well because it's short. Poem 99. Change is hard when you don't want to accept that it's happening. When you lean into change by embracing the new chapter you're in, all sorts of opportunities, breakthroughs, and growth will come your way. It's all about your attitude. Change is going to happen no matter what, so go with the current and see where it takes you. Let me see if poem 44 is short. Yeah. Oh, I found it right here. Oh my God, this is freaky. This is so freaky. I wanted to read this one today, but I forgot which number it was. Oh my God. All right. It was meant to be. All right. I'm going to read this one like in a wrestler's voice because it's about using wrestling as a metaphor for life. Oh, he is? Okay, awesome. All right. I'll try to be like Macho Man like that. All right. We cling to old storylines when we don't get a clean finish. We look at our past bookings and reflect on the unfinished angles, in the ring swerves, shoot fights and screw jobs, one-sided feuds where we didn't have a chance to look strong. Not that just, brother. We flash back to the money and the miles, the tag team partners we lost, the stablemates who fell by the wayside, the friends who became enemies, the enemies we ceased to hate but we never grew to love, brothers who no longer want to call you brother. But the ones that hurt you the most are the lovers that walked out because we chose the ring and the road over everyone else, man. My heart hurts at 3 a.m. when all I have are my memories of things I can't change, fights I can't fight again, buried angles I can't figure it out, matches I can't unlose. I may have been a king in the ring, but I wasn't always in my friends and family's locker room when they needed me. My presence, character, and strength. I think a clean finish, a 1, 2, 3 on the mat, and I quit from sweat, wet lips. Your hand raised in the air, or both shoulders on the canvas with the bell ring to punctuate the moment. I think we sell the idea of a clean finish because life doesn't always give you one. I'm praying to the booker in the sky to restart some angles that still have some juice in them because I want that clean finish and a return after return after return. I'm knocking on his door every day hoping he'll hear my pitch and let me get this angle across because I'm pretty sure it's going to go over like gangbusters. And we can still do a lot of business with this angle, this story, this narrative arc so that we can each earn a clean finish and walk away knowing we did all that we could do with this story. But I have to respect that not every angle gets a clean finish.
All right, everybody, keep it going for Fernando. And make sure you guys get these poets social media when you guys before you guys take off today because you're gonna wanna know who these people are. And so we are bringing up the next poet. Whew. Now for something completely different. This poet is a survivor flying with one wing. Everyone, please welcome Faiza.
Whoa.
Thank you. Getting old. First poem is from my second book. I'm a visitor on this earth. Thank you. American mornings. These mornings are crowded with illegal immigrants who fall asleep on the shoulder of the American dream after a pitch black night of hard labor, with, with, with birds drunk on spoiled wine, with cars rushing to outrun fate, with anxious faces trying to crush time's spine, with lofty trees waving to passerbys, with the frailly faces of children playing with angels, with hearts that abandoned heavy chest last night and got lost on the way home, with the long braids of women from poor countries hiding deprivation and cheap perfume in their folds, with the boots of so many soldiers who left stories of horror beyond the ocean, with people despairing who cannot keep calm in the palm of death, with speeding clouds that chase after the rosy horizon, with tombstones that struggle to wake from their slumber, with the sick who long for a new day out of the clutches of pain, with the homeless who dance for automated human beings at traffic signals, with news that descends with the devils, the stench of blood and crude oil emanating from their black robes, with fresh hope piercing through the earth and stretching towards the sky. I read this poem today in the class, so I'm going to be reading it. This is for included in my third book, which will be the CLI publication. Galaxies. Inside me are many skies, tethered to the universe by an umbilical cord. Each sky has numerous galaxies. Each galaxy has a black hole. Each black hole swallows me until I am reborn in another sky, in another galaxy that changes colors with my breath. Inside me, a multitude of stars orbit around my pain-stretched heart, listening to an old lullaby mother left before my departure. Lalo, 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 la 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 ibka, la 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 ibka. I murmur it when I go to sleep. Inside me are multiple universes, constantly renewing, constantly changing, constantly advancing. Inside me are mad poets, devouring their poems viciously, dozing off on traveling stars, then vanishing in the dark, leaving their shadows with me. Inside me are complicated worlds, dangling from stony days, refusing to leave my soul, which yearns to fly. Inside me, the universe is disappointment, departure, exile, never ending. Thank you so much.
This one was jumping out the bottom. Born and raised in New Jersey.
Yes.
Yeah. The one and only Soul on Fire.
Yes, Soul!
I was curious what my song was going to be. I was hoping for Juicy, but it's all right. What's up, everybody? I'm Soul on Fire. It's great for everyone to be here. I'm going to do my best to live up to my moniker. So this poem is for anyone who has had people come up to them, and just because they know one thing about your culture, they think they know the entirety of you. So this one's called Tío Pablo. So I'm going to go micless. So can y'all hear me in the back? Okay.
They can't hear you.
They can't hear you?
You on
Okay.
YouTube because
All
it's
right.
gonna, yeah.
I guess I can't go micless. My bad. All right. I feel the question coming long before I arrive at the function. Trying to function without losing my control, I tap out commands in my pocket, shift my weight from right to left, hoping not to return to the main frame of understanding people can't seem to get past. And sure enough, as I pay my tab at the bar, the question hits me like a tag hashed and gashed onto my chest, copy pasted like someone else's assignment. So, what's your background?
Oh.
Both my parents are from Colombia. Oh, so you're Colombian, huh? You must know Pablo Escobar. I try to stifle the anger bubbling up, quiet the argument playing out in a loop. It's on playback without end or beginning, a curse without a witch to cast it, curandero to cure it. Because of the country my parents were born in, I am somehow kin to a kingpin. And I flash a smile, pretending the words don't cleave me in half, and try to change the topic. But what she doesn't know is I do know him. And when I was 7, my mother was in downtown Bogota on a routine bank errand with my uncle until she felt something that told her not to park the car in the underground bank garage. What she doesn't know is that my mother was 2 blocks away from a car bomb that killed 15 people. The gut smeared on her face, and that was, were it not for her premonition, she'd be another victim of Pablo's war. But I don't blame her. She only parrots back the tidbits she learns from American news and the novelas that glorify him and the shows that humanize him and the constant media reminder that my country, full of rich jungles and Amazonian rainforests with fauna and flora of every shade of color, the most species of birds in the world, with primos playing football in dirt fields and abuelas tending coffee beans, praying for rain, and abuelos sharing chismes as they warm arepas, where strangers are family and everyone is welcome. A land of emerald beauty and ancient gold, a land of poets and artists of Botero, Isaacs, and Gabo, the home of Betty La Fea and La Pola, the resting place of Simón Bolívar and the home of Valderrama and Falcao, of Juanes and Shakira, Fonseca y Vives, the birthplace of cumbia and pacemakers, the Tierra del Encanto, the place I fell in love with every summer till the age of 9, despite our country's treasures. Pablo Escobar still steals it away.
Yes.
This woman waits for my response, whether I'll take that bitter bait she sets, pretending to be edgy, expecting me to congratulate her, but I don't say shit. I take my drink and walk away with the words gripping my throat. My country deserves better.
Yes.
All right, I was going to do something, but I am going to do something else. So this one's a change of pace, but I think you'll like it. It's called To the Ones Who Think They're Too Broken. I promise you, I don't know your struggle. I can't match your scars with my bruises, nor can I taste the same ire as life bloodies your lips. I won't say I was there when your father left you, forever wondering why he didn't want you. I won't say I was there when the kids laughed at you and pretended you weren't a shooting star. Tried to dim your luminescence with their flash of insecurities. I won't say I was there when your relative assaulted you, when they stole your innocence from you and planted seeds of self-hate and shame in your fertile heart, or tried to asphyxiate you with their words. Our struggles or how we confront them aren't the same. But I can say that you're worth it, that you are the mason with every tool at the ready to steady your hand and chisel the roadblocks on your path, a trowel to smooth the rough surfaces of your heart walls, to soothe the myocardium from the damages, brushes to sweep the debris from shattered memories, and spackles to fill the holes and primer to cover your bruises. You are stronger than you realize. Your gifts fit you perfectly. And if that knot inside your throat is too gnarled to untangle, you can let silence be your losange. If the boulders are too heavy blocking your sunset view, you can always sharpen your blade and strike it harder tomorrow. And if the road keeps leading you back to dead ends, well, you can always pave another road.
Yes.
Thank you very much, cool. Hold on by, ladies and gentlemen. Our next poet coming to the mic is a teacher who loves working with kids. She is from Jamaica.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dreamkeypr.
All my people.
I come from a generation of pain where murder is minor. Rebellious and more jealous of shifty for designer. Broke buckets is not overzealous, it's long environment. Make the wrong turn. Be the will of the wood alignment. Residue burn. Misstudied in the city. Miscommunication.
Hey everyone. Definitely a change of pace. You know, some reflections for us. Without realizing, the hour comes, they lose all their power. By the time you note or notice, neglect unravels it. Easy as counting ABCs, memories wither away in a breeze. From a quick turn aside, interest unremembered, you're left with only pride. In the blink of an eye, doubt spirals out of control. With a tinge of delay, all the time in the world can kangaroo from surplus to deficit. Before you know it, selections to choose transform to you snooze, you lose. Ruminating on the divine exemplars of experience. Shall we cease from overthinking, overwatching, overstanding, replaying silhouettes of slip-ups? Shall we show loves we care, enter and be there, speak their love language, even if only for a moment? Shall we not be paralyzed out of fear, fear to speak, to feel, to leave, to ride along, to breathe? Shall we enunciate time in our endeavors as the tea loses steam, days run away to months that age to years, as sunshine switches places with moonshine, and clothes don't fit, they get shorter, not tighter? Shall we not hesitate too much, procrastinate? As priorities change, opportunities pass, promises lapse, shall we not? As good health leaves us and ailments engulf us, as toddlers turn to teens and adolescents add up to adults, as parents impersonate their children till the very end. Shall we not wait until I made it too late is our song of sorrow.
Oh, wow.
The next one I want to do for you is definitely a change of pace. It's a love of mine, you know, what being Jamaican is, you know, definitely one of the things that we're known for. This one is entitled Reggae Recipe. Hey there, selector, up in the dance. We need the good music so we can joke, bubble every chance, every chance. The article making of a musical treat, feast for the eyes from tricks with a beat, of limbs on a melody ride with an irie yardie vibe. Ingredients easy to access, that's tagged for a deal, Jano Star. You'll think it's a steal. Get ready with the bass, push in like a treble, couple pinches of the chord, an essential pitch reward. A splash of sound power verses and bars that don't ever miss. Hey there, selector, up in the dance. We need good music so we can joke, bubble every chance, every chance.
Blend the ingredients, mix out all the hiccups. When the time is set, temperature all the way turn up, emerging reggae evolution. Yes, I am. That's what's up. Your body might consider a slight, tiny jiggle, but most definitely will sway, riding the rhythm, music on the way. You're gonna lively up yourself and don't be no drag. You lively up yourself, cause reggae is another bag. You're gonna lively up yourself and don't say no. You lively up yourself, cause I say so. Hey there, selector, up in the dance. Me need the good music so me can juke, bubble every chance, every chance. Reggae is sly, has a sneaky effect. Tickles of pleasure you can surely expect that fall upon the ears it won't ever reject. Then before you notice, and beyond your control, it skips over your heart and prances on your soul. Every DJ better know the reggae recipe, that island delight, an eternal remedy. Reggae music, me say, you know it half is sweet, cause Jamaica, pure niceness, you see it?
Give it up again for Dreamkeypr. Well, there should be no surprises at this point. But this brother loves reggae and Afrobeat music. Bringing to the stage legendary Isaac Sundiata.
Maria himself.
This piece was written for the generation that says we are not our ancestors, we will F you up.
Okay.
I didn't like that. So this is called disclaimer. No, you are not your ancestors and can never imagine the heartbreak or pain they felt, nor can you ever fully fathom the not so distant time in which they lived. Their authentic, legitimate stories are never shown on HBO or Netflix. Far too often, conversations about painful past were never had with descendants. We can only attempt to know their struggles. Physical scars were their tattoos, psychic scars were implanted in our DNA.
Oh, yeah.
The unmatched bravery they displayed paved the way for us to live lives of which they can only dream. We enjoy the fruits of seeds they have sown in anguish. The victories won when they played by the rules often caused rules to be changed to block their success. They possessed unlimited love rooted in giving and sharing, not competing and complaining. Armed with stolen legacies of African ancestors, baptized and nourished with the libations of spilled blood, they were honorable in allegiance to our people, keeping multitudes of head above troubled water, saving them from drowning in the sea of persecution and amid fields of false promises and deferred dreams. Lessons learned from the lives they lived should be honored for exposing political deception disguised as truth and genocide camouflaged as freedom. In spite of the traitors, buffoons, and fearmongers among them, they understood the intrinsic deep-seated nature of white supremacy and loved our rhythm and caused our blues. Punishment did not stop their bravery or acts of rebellion. Stories rarely told of broken glass added to slave masters' meals, broken tools to prevent learning to read, broken tools to prevent work, learning to read, and teaching others so much unrecorded history. Never doubt or underestimate the accomplishments of these unsung heroes, creators of something from nothing, doers of the impossible and unthinkable, leavers of legacies that make us collectively a powerful force to be reckoned with. No, you're not your ancestors, but without their genius for surviving and creating and thriving, you wouldn't be here to make that disclaimer.
Yeah.
This piece is called Unvindicated. I am a victim, but I write no victim poems. I am an endangered species, and I'm not on any list. I am a survivor of the inhumanity, and still I rise to exist. I am an essential link in the eternal chain of life. I am a builder, an inventor, a thinker, a survivor, a service provider, a reflection of the hypocrisy of democracy. I am a Jew, a Muslim, a Christian, a Hindu, a monk. I am the reason life on the planet of 75% water has not let us all get sunk. I am a humanitarian and an activist, and it's hard to keep balance through my odds. I work with the tools that I play, the hand I've been dealt, and done wonders with what I've got. I own nothing and have everything, and faith keeps me in check, and the road I've traveled has not been paved, and I walk past many a wreck. I am a wave in the ocean, a ripple in the stream. I am the manifestation of what life can be, but have only lived on in dreams. I've been whiteballed and whitelisted and whitemailed, hung, chained, bound, gagged, and jailed. I've been whipped, flogged, and beaten down, but still I rise and I'm still around.
Yes.
I'm a victim, but I write no victim poems.
Yes.
I do anything to make you smile. Travel around the world and come back home and now my style is rich. They say I get spicy when I step out this same mouth. I hit that last night and she already feeling style.
Everyone, please give it up for the griot himself, Sundiata. I got one more piece for you before I bring up Tommy Domino once more.
Give it up for the amazing Lolo Wink.
Thank you kindly. Shout out to everybody. Please give yourself a round of applause for being here today and for coming out and hanging with us on a Saturday. Because we are Long Beach, I'm going to share a Long Beach piece with you. This is the lullaby of Long Beach. When the sun has set and the babes in bed, there's a song to be heard, bitter and sweet. Down valleys, up hills, and through watershed arises the lullaby of Long Beach. Escucha la fiesta de al lado. The men sing along with every measure. A foghorn sounds its distant vibrato as the stray cats yowl in their displeasure. Reverberations from midnight choppers echo in desolate, twisted back streets. Addicts murmur for dope for their dollars under the whining sirens of police. Lovers moan loudly through wafer-thin walls. Senora walks the street and sells her wares. A car alarm sounds its everyday calls as a fire truck's horn resounds and blares. The bright moon ascends over the city. Our smooth song swells and rescinds like a speech. Into our ears, both precious and gritty, the familiar lullaby of Long Beach. Ladies and gentlemen, Tommy Domino.
See, I told you, you guys are going to be fed. My soul is feeling good right now, listening to all this great poetry. Today we did all the 5 elements of authorship, right? Today in class, we made sure we wrote, we read, we promoted, we performed, and we're building relationships right now. So I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. That's a crazy thing.
Bring that fire, Tommy Domino.
But I decided to hold the book. I might as well because we're so close. We're so close.
Yeah.
And we're gonna all be holding this. So I said it makes sense for me to bring my book, Switches, High Voltage Tracks, and Extension Cords. And when I was sitting in the CLI class in the fourth season, I felt like when I did this poem, it all sort of came together for me. And all the experiences and everything, it finally all made sense. And the name of this poem is called Roots. I'm poet laureate of the juke joint.
Yeah.
Chiseling words behind Heineken wrappers. Seasoned rapper, decade removed from Beach Street. Baptizing beats, bee hopping, receding hair crop from the Jerry curl days. Morphing into shags, fades, and waves, I boogaloo in golf hats and khaki suits. Eat baobab fruits, pour libations on its roots, which carries the spirit of the ancient griot. We blues people. We blues people. We blues people. We come from an old history, mystery unsolved. Western hemispheric evolved African violence. The land is too small. Da 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 ba da da. Strange fruit, constantly pruned by and systemic weeds that germinate. Who am I? I find remnants of my history in old jet magazines and storefronts that sell sage and hibiscus teas from the lips of winos, staggering with Wolof, speaking and Wolof staggering with elephant-like memories. I'm Dogon. I play records to signal motherships and midnight trains and Negro spirituals like still away. They can never kill away my revolution. We were looted and branded as property. Now, marinate on that. There's no back for me to return to. Our backs built this village. Ancestors raped and pillaged, diluting my blood like tea bags, tri-steeped. I study blues, like Kimite studies the metal netter, hoping to extract a single morsel, unveiling my origins. I'm a bushman. Storing those who dig up my artifacts between each verse. I speak of chains and forgotten names that swim within me. It is my full-time occupation to carry those voices for which I have no choice, because up to this point, I'm the only reason they ever existed. Roots grew up twisted among European thorns, but my third eye remained intact. Black like the velvet picture in your mama's living room, you know, that Afro sister with that single tear. My poem and my pen is the spear aiming at the mark that told a second grader that he had no history and he grew up to be Dr. John Henry Clark. Yes. Thank you. What a great night. Thank you for having us. I'm going to bring to the stage the incredible, amazing, we call him the gardener around here. He's the man that plants the dreams and the dreams grow. I want to bring the incredible Professor Hiram Sims to the stage. Yeah, I was hoping to get the Snoop, Carl. It's all good. It's all good. How's everybody doing tonight? Good. Good up for CLI Long Beach. Wow! Incredible. Incredible. I have you know how like you got like 9 things to say and you try to push them down into 3 things. So that's what I'm gonna do. First of all, welcome to
Pages on Stages, and Pages on Stages is an open mic here at the Sims Library where we celebrate poets who rip the stage and poets who rip the page, right? And so, what better place to do this than a library surrounded by 7,000 books of poetry? And I love what Tommy said because I really believe that there's so many dreams in this room, right? Ones that have come to fruition and ones that are on the way. The not only do we have like all of this achievement on the shelf, but then if you look at the top shelf, these are like CLI alumni, who have also published their books, and they're kind of just like looking down on y'all, like, get your stuff together. Make sure you turn in that manuscript so you can get through book production. So it's amazing to see all of these dreams together in one place. The first thing I want to say is that it's so important to realize that your words have impact, that they have power, and that once you plant them in other people, like you never know exactly the ways that they're going to show up. I was on campus at Long Beach State. My cousin was getting his PhD, and I was walking on campus, and all of a sudden I was pushing my father in a wheelchair. My mother was standing next to me, and all of a sudden I went, "You got the magic touch. You got the magic touch, the black girl magic." And my mom was like, "What are you singing?" And I was like, we just kept walking, right? So you just like never know the ways in which language just bubbles up, right? Like all of a sudden it just came out. So in talking about dreams, though, there was a moment probably at the end of CLI season 5. I was sitting at a Tender Greens with Kamari Carter and Carol Ann Perini, who's also a Long Beach writer. And so at the time we had like a fiction class and we had a children's book class, we had one poetry class, but the poetry class was like flourishing, and these other two classes were like really struggling to hold students. And so I told both of them, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like have CLI focus on poetry, and we're just gonna build poetry chapters in other cities. And at the time, all 3 of those classes were at USC, and Kamari said, like, where's like the first place you would create the second chapter? And I was like, it's gotta be Long Beach. Like the poetry community in Long Beach is so strong. And so that conversation, us talking about a dream, right? And now look, here you all are together, right? So like words have so much power. As you were reading, and at the end of the first half, I usually tell the history of a little poetry history, focus on one person. So I'm going to do that. But right as Tommy was reading his poem, I was just looking at these shelves, and like there was a time when these shelves were just not here. There was just big green walls, and we knew we wanted to build a library. And so first I was like sitting in like the corner, and then I had like a vision of what they would grab some paper, and I actually found paper, and I like drew 3 bookshelves, right? And like the schematic, the measurement of them, and the ways in which they look, how many, like every 4 feet there needed to be blocking, and like exactly how many feet taller they would be than like the average person. And now like it's right here. Like you're in the middle of the thing. And so I just think it's a blessing to see something in your mind, and then to pray and ask for it, and then to work on it, and then to wait until it actually, comes to pass. So it's a blessing to be here with the Long Beach chapter of CLI. And I think that as we work on these dreams, sometimes we fail. And I think it's important that when a dream is accomplished, that you must take some time to acknowledge that something that you wanted to happen has happened. And I believe that like the only difference between failure and accomplishment is celebration. So you must celebrate, when something is accomplished. And so I want to tell you a little bit about Gerald Lachlan. So Gerald Lachlan was a huge figure in the Long Beach poetry scene. So what had happened was in the late 50s, early 60s, he went to ASU and he got a bachelor's degree in English. And his mother and father wanted him to like drive trucks and be like a mail delivery man, right? And he's like, no, I love poetry. So I'm just gonna stay in college. So then he got a PhD in English literature from ASU, and then he moved his family to Long Beach. Eventually he got hired at Cal State Long Beach, and then he taught poetry in Long Beach for 42 years. And that's not including the hundreds of performances that he organized, that he put together. He had a homie named Charles Bukowski, and together they like put on like hundreds and hundreds of poetry events in bars, in parks, outside, like wherever they could get people together, they would do it, and they were like funny guys too. So they were like telling jokes, doing poems, and like so much of the culture, in my opinion, is connected to him. While he was at ASU in undergrad, he decided that he was going to read every day and write every day. And so that's something that he, talked about often. And so in this 42 years of him reading every day and writing every day, he published 150 books. And he published 3,000 poems in other literary journals and magazines, right? This guy is like amazing, right? And off that habit of just like reading a page and writing a page every day. And that's something that we really, really preach at CLI, right? About just doing this little bit. And then over time, it has this incredible exponential effect. If you know anything about compound interest, like that's what's happening when we are reading and writing every day. I want to tell you like a slightly related story. Some of y'all are Kobe Bryant fans, and so when Kobe Bryant was 18, this is connected, okay? So when Kobe Bryant entered the NBA, like he was kind of afraid, there's a lot of hype, but he was kind of afraid, like maybe I'm not as good as everybody, right? So he decided to study the practice regimen of every great NBA player. So he took these 5 players and he interviewed them, and he's like, how do you practice? And he found out that the best players in the NBA would wake up at like 9 in the morning, then they go to the gym, and then they do a workout from like 10 to 11:30. Then they would go home, rest, watch TV, spend time with their children, and then they would get back to the gym about 3 o'clock, and then they would practice again from 3 to 5, and then they would go home and rest and spend time with their family. So what Kobe Bryant decided to do at the beginning of his career, instead of waking up at 9, he woke up at 5. And then he went to the gym and he practiced from 6 to 8. And then he went home and rested. And then he was back in the gym from 11 to 1. Then he was at home and then he rested. He was back in the gym from 3 to 5. Then he went home and he rested. And he was back in the gym from 7 to 9. And he said over the course of 1 year, he had basically practiced the equivalent of 5 years of the best players. And he was 4.5 years ahead of everybody that entered the NBA with him. And he was like, they'll never catch up. You know, so, and they did it, right? So like this habit of dedicating some time to your craft every day, right, will have exponential results over time. And so back to Gerald Lachlan, at the end of his 42 years at Long Beach City College, he taught in a program called MPW at USC, Masters of Professional Writing, which is a program that I was in. And so he was my workshop teacher, and it was an incredible experience being his student. And every time he would ask us to like respond to the poem, and we would take like 2 minutes and we would be quiet, he would just start singing, right? You know, like, and one day we were in class, and he was like, all right, what do y'all, let's get feedback to the would affect the life of his students. And that's why I think you should really honor Tommy and Lolo, your teachers, because their words have power, their influence has power, and your writing has power. You know, Gerald Lachlan died of COVID last year, and he was the only person in my life that I lost to COVID. But one thing that, I take solace in, try not to cry up here. One thing that I take solace in is that though, he's not here, 30 of his books are over there. Whoa. So do your work, get your work done, so that your words can live beyond you. All right, that's it. So thank you all for listening to me. I think we got pizza.
It's waiting in the kitchen.
Boom! So we're gonna celebrate and eat some pizza, and then for about 15 minutes, and then after that, we will get back to the open mic. All right. Thank you all for coming. CLI Long Beach. Give it up for them. Woo! All right. Let's eat some pizza outside so we don't mess up our carpet. All right.
Oh yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, let's try. I'm gonna say it.